Florida is known globally as an invasive species hotspot due to its climatic stability. Invasive species meet two standardized requirements. First, they must be non-native to the area, and second, they are likely to cause environmental, economic, and/or human harm. Because invasive species are non-native, their biological management also requires the introduction of reproducing populations of foreign insects or disease, also known as biological control agents. There are three types of biological controls: augmentation, conservation, and classical. In this video, we'll talk about classical control. So let's take the air potato, or Dioscorea bulbifera. Its native range includes tropical Asia, Africa, and northern Australia, and could have been introduced with the slave trade in the 19th century. However, some believe it was introduced by botanists or as a food source for growing human populations. The air potato vine will grip surrounding vegetation and climb up trees into canopies, crowding out native species and reducing biodiversity. The reduction of biodiversity comes from the displacement of native plant and animal species. When invasive weeds like air potato are present, there are different measures you can take to reduce their populations and their negative effects that they may cause. This is called integrated pest management, or IPM. For instance, you may take a chemical approach using selective herbicides. These kill plants by altering their biochemical pathways, but you still run the risk of killing native species, or non-targets. For this reason, biological control can be a great way to target invasive growth. Some examples of biological control besides classical control includes conservation and augmentation. Conservational biological control focuses on protecting the environment so that natural enemy populations have a safe and contained space to grow. Additionally, augmentation biological control is used when attempting to limit natural enemies by adding more biological agents. Classical biological control, on the other hand, is met with opposition because it is so time-consuming and requires a lot of skill and knowledge about native species niches. Biological control is one of the most targeted ways to limit invasive growth. Biological control is a mass release and attempt to establish target-specific natural enemies from the weed's native range. The objective is to reduce the vigor, reproductive capacity, and/or density of the target weed. So let's look at the air potato leaf beetle, or Laloceros cheni. It is native to China, India, Nepal, Laos, and Thailand. It was first released in Florida in 2012. The beetle larvae and adults consume leaf tissue and consume the small bulbs that eventually sprout into yams. Ultimately, damage to growing tips can reduce plant growth and reduce the ability of the plant to climb vertically and reach the canopy. Within just 3 months, extensive damage to the air potato becomes apparent. Even if you're using chemical control as your primary pest tool, incorporating classical biological control is a great way to decrease future expenses on chemical and mechanical control methods. It can also reduce non-target effects of herbicides. Lastly, it is minimally risky, and when used in conjunction with responsible pesticide application, it can reduce invasive populations more efficiently. Don't hesitate to consider biological control when working in natural areas.